So the 6 ranges of motion for the hip are flexion, so narrowing of the front of the hip, extension, which is the other direction, external rotation, internal rotation, adduction, which is towards the midline of the body, abduction is away from the midline of the body. Limitations based on bone structure and stuff, which has a lot to do with like ethnicity and also like how you use it. Someone who played soccer all their life, it's so funny because I just used this analogy with Angie yesterday, that someone who plays soccer all their life is going to have they're going to feel Janu Sirsasana differently than someone who works at a desk and cross their legs all day. There's the same muscles, same bones, but different tensions, even though they're doing the same shape. And I find that so fascinating. But really what I wanted to talk about is mobility requires space. You gotta have space in the joint to have mobility. And you also need softness. That stretching, be careful with stretching. Stretching is a contraction while the muscle is elongating. And what you're looking for is the stretch reflex, the inverse stretch reflex. The stretch reflex is when you're elongating it and it starts to contract and so you feel it. What you're looking for is after 20, 30 seconds it gives, which is the inverse reflex. There's a third reflex. These are all spinal reflexes, how your nervous system functions with your muscles. The third reflex that we're really going to take advantage of with mobility is the reciprocal relaxation reflex. When you engage an antagonist, or an agonist, the antagonist releases. When I engage the antagonist, or the agonist, the antagonist releases. So everywhere I'm looking, if I want to open my hamstrings, I contract my quadriceps. If I want to open my external rotation, what limits that is my internal rotators. So I want to contract my external rotators to soften these. And so everywhere we're looking, if I want a deeper back bend, and what's limiting is the hip flexors, then I'm going to engage my hip extensors. That's the main thing we're going to take advantage of, is to create space, and then softness. So you could be stretching and stretching and stretching, and it's just not getting any further, and you just engage the opposite side of the side that's stretching. So this is huge for if you ever try like yin yoga. You ever go to a yin class and you're just hanging out for a long, long time, and the stretch is just like killing you, it's burning, and it's like, well, just engage the opposite side. Whoa, it just softened, you can go deeper, and then it becomes a strengthening kind of endeavor. So go to deep range of motion and then contract your hip flexors. So I'm in deep hip flexion, but now if I find my psoas and I can pull myself deeper, and now I'm in active strength, right? So that's kind of the theory of what we're going to be working with. And the event is going to take people through these images, teach people these isolations, and then we'll group them together in the few poses that people were talking about that you want. So that's all. Thanks, guys.